Hi, good evening everyone. Today we will go into how to iterate our game easily and quickly within ShuffleKit itself. We would create designs and cards and playtest them in real time, even online, and go over what it takes to make the iteration the fastest the possible. The more time we take at iterating the bare concept, the more time basically we will have to release our game, because iterating is 80 to 90% of any game creation cycle. So making it as efficient as possible is our goal here. So here we made a simple card game with simple card types. You can watch the first videos about how to make a simple sheet like this connected to some layout templates like here. So our first step is to make a new deck, because currently we are just viewing all the cards that we have in our current project, and we can create decks to add custom property specified to that deck. For example, it's named starter, and we can auto add all the cards that we have. So we can have this new property, which is quantity. Quantity is copies of this card in this deck. If we want to test, of course, instead of replicating each card in the sheet and editing them whenever we want to edit any property, now we can just have a simple number that we could change. And if we change any of the properties of the card in the future, for example, we want to nerf or buff some cards, we just change one row and it got reflected on all the cards copies. So now we added some sample number of quantity cards. Another good property to have is in view. It's hidden by default. We can just view it, which is the status. If we have a lot of cards and we want to track which ones are already good to release and which ones are still draft, need to be iterated on, which ones are archived. For example, this guy is too powerful, we just want to not show them anymore, not use them until we nerf them or something. You can edit that from here. And to keep things simple, I will just make all the cards active. So now we are ready. We can just go and to the play table where we can choose our game and playtest with the cards. Now we have an option here to use all cards. This is the simple one for people who don't want to create decks and everything. We can just toggle it off because we have a starter deck. Even though we have around 12 cards, it's 35 here because of the copies. We can invite a player to play multiplayer, and we can have some properties. For example, how many decks we want in the field ready. Let's have 2, for example. My starter hand will be auto draw 5. Discard pile is, we want 2, for example. We have a discard and banish, and we can start on shuffle or on order. We will choose shuffle, and that's it. We can start testing our cards. I have already auto drawn 5. These are the decks that we have, the discard piles. I can also move them. Let's say this one for me, I will play as my opponent, and each one, for example, have his discard pile. Perfect. So above we have simple options like shuffling, hiding and revealing our hand. We can create a new empty pile or just remove it. We can undo, redo stuff, draw 5 for some example because we are so OP, and rotate the battlefield. So let's start by playing some cards. We have some options, for example, space and click to move the space. Control space on Mac to zoom in and out, and we can just start playing. I can just put cards on the field. I can play this space here, for example. We can tap cards, we can flip them face down, we can also duplicate them. This guy, for example, makes copies of himself. Send to hand again, discard to discard pile, or return to the deck. We can play here, and now I'm the opponent, for example, to test different use cases. I play my area, play my own cards, and that's it. And if we want to iterate on any card, so after this session we found this guy is too powerful, this one needs to be buffed, and etc. We can just go into our card sheet and start editing the properties here. For example, this we will make its level 4, does not worth 5. We can make over this, let's make it 3, and return to the play table, reset, and go again. That's it. Without reprinting the cards, without changing software, everything is just right here. Also in the future we will add on multiplayer, you can add real-time notes, so you can just note on this card within the game. If you are with your friend, like, okay, this card is too strong, let's edit it later. But you can just go on, iterate and perfect the game and make it something people would love to play. And that's it for today. Of course, another option for playtesting is just exporting to the tabletop simulator and have here all the cards in a simulator sheet. You can disable any cards that you don't want to export and export it. Playtest there and return here to iterate on the game. If you have any feature that you would like to see or any questions, you can always reach me at support. We will be always available. Thank you.